Hi everyone, welcome to Mompreneur Space live show podcast where I interview inspiring moms from all around the world so that you can learn from them how they overcome their challenges and struggles. I'm your host Kenneth Chu and today is 111 episode of Mompreneur Space live show podcast. This podcast started with a very simple thought of sharing inspiring mompreneur stories so that mothers will be able to resonate and start to make a difference in their lives and their family's life. I've met and come across a lot of amazing mompreneur stories in the past 5 years, which I'm very blessed that I've connected with them and able to share their story with you guys. So today's guest is an amazing mompreneur with 5 kids now, and how we met was an amazing encounter. She was doing her launch of a swimwear in Singapore, and she was reaching out and inviting influencers. And who knows that she reached out to me and invited me now down. Back then, I was surprised why she invited me, and maybe I can ask her why she invited me in the first place and invited a man for a swimwear launch. So the last time when we met, right, was in June 2019. It has been 4 years, where she was just carrying her third baby, and now she has two more new members to her family in the past 4 years. In this episode, we will be talking about find opportunities in challenging times. Patricia is an entrepreneur and a homeschooling mom from Manila, Philippines. Where she was 21, she ended up in a hospital due to a ruptured ovarian cyst. They had to do an emergency operation on her to save her life. And on top of other health conditions, prompted doctors to tell her that it would be very difficult for her to get pregnant. 13 years later, she's carrying her fifth child and she's praising God for the vocation of marriage and motherhood. And for this beautiful, however challenging life he has blessed her with it. She has been married to her number one supporter, her beloved husband. Now she has 3 girls and 2 boys, aged 8, 7, 3, 2, and a 5-month-old. She started her first business when she was pregnant with her firstborn and has been working to grow it with a business partner who is also a mom of 3 ever since. For every pregnancy and child, she has either learned a new skill or started something new. It was never intentional, it just happened that way, which is why she firmly believed that opportunities can be found in life's obstacle. So without further ado, let me welcome Patricia. Hi, Patricia.
Hi, Kenna. Thank you again for
Welcome.
having me. I'm
No
delighted to be
problem. Yeah, it's good. It's good that we catch up now, and also good to see you after 4 years virtually.
I
And
know
welcome.
we haven't really even kept in touch much since then, but it feels like yesterday.
Yes, yes. Because I think you got busy and with another two more kids, two other babies, right? So before we start, right, maybe you can introduce yourself and share with the audience where are you from, and currently what are you doing?
So my name is Patricia Gonzalez. I am an entrepreneur. I have 2 brands, and I'm working on building my third project. I don't want to call it a business yet, but it's in the works. It's a project. And I also homeschool 2 out of 5 of my children. I have a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, and then the younger ones are all in their toddler years, 3, 2, and I have a baby that's 5 months. So as you can imagine, my days are full and busy and loud, but incredibly fulfilling. So maybe I can tell you also a bit about my businesses. No, the first business that I started um, it started in 2015, and my business partner and I at the time, we were both newly married, new moms who were entering this new season of life, and we were wondering how can we continue to carry over all of the things that we were doing when we were younger, because we were working in formation with young girls, and it was so important for us to help young women understand how beautiful it is to be a woman, um, how to express that, and how you speak, how you dress, and how you act. and how also to live your faith in a way that's modern, in a way that helps you understand who you are and helps you make yourself a gift to others. So Margot and I were doing that for a really, really long time together when we were in our early 20s. And so when we became moms, we were like, how can we continue to do this through a business um, in a way that can help our families, but also provide livelihood for others? No? So we observed that there was a gap in the market for swimwear that wasn't just stylish, but that was also, that provided ample coverage, that was comfortable, but still very modern and very, very current. So we were like, you know what? Why don't we make it ourselves? And the time that you and I met was when we were trying to bring it to Singapore in 2019, and I was scrolling on Instagram, researching on influencers in Singapore, and I said, I think this guy fits into the women empowerment bracket of our audience. I mean, he's a guy, but he seems to be really, really pro moms, really, really pro mompreneurs, and I guess the rest is history.
Okay, now finally I know the
Yeah.
reason why.
Of course. I mean, I feel like you fit with the brand, right? Because our brand is all about that. Our brand is about helping women realize what
Hmm.
they're capable of, giving them confidence through clothing, through what they, through what they wear. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, and that has been awesome because when I was preparing for our episode, right, I was looking through the past photos, even the review, even about the events. I was like, oh my god, that like bring back all the memories. And also at the same time when we had a chance, I brought
Yes,
my daughter together with your two elders, together with the one that is still in your tummy, right? We met up, and it has been really amazing. My daughter has been remembering it to now. So it's like asking her like, when will your daughter be back? So I think at this point of time, right, and when we talk about the 4 years that had passed, right, since the last time we met. So what had happened during this, like from your third baby to now your fifth baby? What had happened in the past 4 years? Maybe you can give everybody a nutshell, because like you mentioned about your first business is into swimwear, right? And we know that the past 3 to 4 years, the pandemic has affected. So how has it been for you in these past 4 years? At the same time, not just business and also juggling with two
right,
newborns.
right. So, as it was for everybody else, the pandemic um, basically killed our sales. Everything was closed, So, and as a brand, as a business based on, that relies on people going out, people going to the beach. We lost all of our customers. We lost our sales. Nobody wanted to buy anything frivolous, anything that was not a necessity at that time. I remember looking at our website and seeing zero. Um, and I remember crying a lot during that time, just thinking, is this it? Is it over? How are our sewers going to continue to support their families? Um, and I don't think our experience was unique. I'm sure every other small business suffered that time as well. And so we were forced to be creative. We were forced to pivot like everybody else did. So we started selling different things. We sold loungewear because everybody was at home. We started selling the protection suits to support doctors and nurses. But I think what was most fruitful about that for our business was when we decided to try a product that we had been meaning to explore. My business partner and I, we share our faith. We're both Roman Catholic, and we have this devotion to the Blessed Mother, Mother Mary, and it was always just like an idea to how do we present her to the youth in such a way that's relatable, that's more modern. And so we were always thinking maybe we should do like dolls. So our sewers did not know how to make dolls, and we had to do like different prototypes. We had to explore patterns and materials and everything like that. But we just tried it out in October of 2020. We decided to try to launch these dolls, these new products, and they did very, very well. They were very well received, and so that prompted us to start like and continue to grow this other brand. So um, we're both right, we're both behind the brand's Coral Manila, which is swimwear and clothing, and Maris Handmade, which is I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term. Is it's a social enterprise. So the goal
Yep, yep.
there is really to be able to provide livelihood opportunities for people in need. So we work with different underprivileged communities in Metro Manila and in provinces, and we also, like last Christmas, we involved household help, so that they could earn extra during the Christmas season. So we went from dolls to Christmas decorations, um, and I mean, it's been such a beautiful experience. It's been difficult juggling both. Luckily, the peak seasons are different. Maris gets really, really crazy from September until December, and then Coral is busy from like February to June. So we're kind of able to
Because of
yes,
the season, right? The
so that
summer,
helps.
the hot season, and the wet
Yeah, and
season.
I mean, we said we'd talk about this. No, I did have I was pregnant twice throughout the pandemic. I gave birth to my son in April 2021, and last year 2022. Is that right? In October, I think about it. Like, did I really do
Yes, yes.
that? I've been pregnant most of the marriage. Um,
Yeah, back to back, right? Your
yes,
pregnancy.
and it's always in retrospect that I'm able to see that when we become a part of bringing life into the world, like literally, right? We bring human beings into the world, we're co-creators. What happens is that something in us is also able to bring life into other things. Like, it carries over into other parts of our lives. um,
Yeah, yeah. The
yes,
energy,
and
right?
and the creativity. I think it's the creativity that, for me, when I'm pregnant, I become more creative, and after that I become more inspired. And
Yes, it's like every time you pregnant or after you gave birth, you have
yeah,
new business idea.
kind of.
It's like you have another baby born,
There's
right?
the added pressure also to provide for all children, right? So that's a healthy amount of pressure that I have on my back all the time.
Yeah, I think it's more. I see more of motivation, right? Because now you have more kids, they will motivate you to even move. You get more creative, right? Because you see them, you see, hey, there are new things, they are out of the box. New adventure, right? Because when you have a new child, I believe all your children characters, personality are very different, and that also,
Absolutely.
I would say, inspire you,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, how to cater to them, and maybe new ideas just come out,
And
right?
I think that there is a tendency to think that when we become mothers, we lose ourselves. But I would like to push back and say that you find yourself when you become a mother, because we're designed to give. We're designed to give of ourselves, to contribute to the lives of others. And so I feel like it just turns something on in you that, if you allow it, can be a real source of like energy and grace and like fruitfulness. Um, and also, I mean, I've hit my lows, right? Like, in the last two pregnancies, I would get prenatal depression. I would be depressed during the first trimester, just because of being so afraid of whether I could handle it or not. Two, being frustrated that, when I get pregnant, I lose my energy. I'm not able to do as many things as I want to do. I feel like my plans get interrupted. They have to change. But it's in those experiences that we also learn and realize that not everything is on us. Like, we are not everything. We have to, that first of all, it takes a village, right? We have it's so important. I feel like for every person, not just mompreneur, but every person to have a strong support system. And I credit what I'm able to do because of the support of my husband, the support of my family, my in-laws, my parents, the helpers that we have, my business partner who's also a mom herself. So we support each other, but also in in the humility of just accepting that there are times in life where you're called to stop and let somebody else, for me that's God, right, take the wheel, right, for somebody else to do things while the rest I feel like is to trust, like to stop is to trust, to pause is to trust. And when I was going through those experiences of like having prenatal depression, like I had no choice. I was depressed and I was nauseous. And like I had no energy. And so during those times I couldn't be as active in my business as I wanted to. I couldn't homeschool with the same energy and the same passion that I wanted to, but I had to let go for those seasons and be patient, right? And to trust the process. And I would see after that it would be fruitful, that I could pause and things wouldn't necessarily fall apart.
Wow, wow. So this is what happened in just the past 4 years, right? A lot of things happen, and going through two pregnancy, having this prenatal depression, largely due to hormone, right? Because of a lot of discomfort, and also the first trimester, you're having all the morning sickness, feeling nauseous, feeling weak, and this is I would say for you to go through so many times, right, and 5 times, right, as a mother, how does it feel like going through 5 pregnancy, and some of them are like back to back? How do you have that courage? Because I believe that a lot of friends, even a lot of my friends who are mothers, right, after one pregnancy, they were like, okay, it's enough for me. I will not want to go back again. But for you, you have been going back the same cycle pattern for the past, I think, 5 times, right? So how is it like, and what would you say? Because um, every time a lot of parents will say, "Oh, I sacrifice for my children," and for you, you kind of sacrifice like 5 times, right? But for you, it seems like every time you have one child, it seems to give you kind of level up to the next level. How is it possible?
Okay, so I don't want to take all of the credit for that. Again, it takes a village, right? And I feel like if God calls you to something, He's going to give you the grace to do it. So I ask for that grace every single day. I'm like, Lord, if you want me to keep doing this, you have to keep helping me. And if you want me to stop, because I know I'm juggling a lot, I know that what I'm doing looks crazy to many, many people. I mean, it's one thing to have, you know, to to be an entrepreneur, and it's another thing to homeschool, and then it's another thing to have 5 kids. So it's really like people ask me all the time if I'm crazy and how I do it. And I cannot say it's because I'm awesome, it's because I'm amazing. I would have to say that like I'm being given a lot of grace and I have a really, really strong support system. One, okay. But number two is what I did want to talk about today, which was about how we view obstacles, how we view challenges. And a friend shared this book with myself and my husband last year, and it was such a game changer. I feel like maybe I already knew this stuff, but he put words to maybe ways that I was dealing with things, right? So it's The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And what I love about it is that it encourages you and it shows you practical ways on how to find opportunity, be creative, be solution oriented when things are difficult. Because I am sure anybody we were talking about it, you and I, right before we got on the show, right? Like business is up and
Yeah.
down. Like you can never relax. It's always like, what's the next thing? What's the next new thing? And entrepreneurs have to be constantly getting into developing themselves, growing. We need to be sharpening our knives all the time, right? And honestly, it's exhausting, right? But it's true. So if we already know and accept that, whether it's in parenting or whether it's in growing your business, that things are going to get hard, then we have to stop seeing these things as problems, and we have to start seeing these as opportunities. Like, we have to get into the habit of making that flip, right? Like, sure, something bad happens, okay, you can grieve, but you can't grieve forever, because nothing is being solved when you're down, right? Nothing is being solved when you're grieving and when you're frustrated. Just I was telling Kenneth just a few weeks ago, I was like crying to my husband saying, I can't do this anymore. And it was really like, I didn't sleep the whole night because it was a big problem and there was so much pressure. But the next day, my gosh, I prayed myself to sleep. And the next day I woke up with just like this feeling of peace and feeling of like determination to turn this crappy situation into something that's going to benefit the business, benefit my family, benefit myself, my business partner. I'm like, you know what? We're not gonna let this keep us down, um, and that has to come with building the habit, right? We have to build the habit to respond to things that way, so that when they happen, already your body knows what to do, your mind knows what to do. I'm like rambling. Interrupt me whenever you want, Kenneth.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's good that you share this. Like before we start, right? We talk about like you also mentioned that a lot of mothers they look at their children as obstacles, as challenges. But for you, because you are always constantly developing, upgrading yourself, you look it as opportunity. That means children is not an obstacle. Children, in fact, is it brings a new life, bring more creativity, bring more inspiration. So that is the mindset shift, right? To really look at things like that, so that it's the positive that really inspire you, that motivate you every time things happen. Every obstacle is an opportunity. Every obstacle is a new thing to really motivate you. So this is where I see that why you can keep on going even after 5 kids, even after running 2 businesses, now coming with a new project that may become your next side hustle, right? So for you juggling all these things, I believe that I will want to give credit to you because you are really awesome, amazing. And I shared this in our WhatsApp, right? I was telling you that, wow, I'm very envious of your husband, because having a wife to really give birth to 5 kids, living in that abundance, in that joy, in that happiness, right? I think like any man will really love to have such
Thank
a
you
wife
for
that
those words.
really
Let me call
give
my husband.
give in a lot. Yeah, I think he's watching live stream now, so he will hear it. So yeah, having said that, right, because today our topic, right, is about how to find opportunity in challenging time, that you have already shared. In fact, I didn't know that you went through a lot. Like you have this ovarian cyst. Um, and went through a lot, and also health condition that even the doctor tell you that it's very difficult for you to get pregnant. And now looking back, right now you already have 5 kids. So how was that? Because I even joke, I even wrote to you, right? Did you take a photo of your current family photo and send it to the doctor who told you that it will be very difficult for you to get pregnant? I was just
Oh, I
thinking of
should
that,
do
like that
that.
that just struck. Yeah, correct. Yeah, so how was it for you, like you went through all this, right? So I believe that you have something that hold you, that support you, not just your family members, something that we talk about, which is very
Right.
crucial in even overcoming obstacles.
Yes. So, I guess a bit of a backstory would be that when I was growing up, I didn't really want to be a mother. I said I just wasn't attracted to the concept. Um, and at the time, I thought that I would be happier if I really only had to take care of myself. And so it wasn't until I had this health condition that, it was like a series of unfortunate events, but that God flipped around and made fruitful, right? That I realized that wow, it would be really horrible if I couldn't have my own children. So it was potentially losing that, um, that made me want it, right? Like, and at the time, I met my husband. We had started dating, and I knew he would be an awesome father. I knew he wanted to be a father. Okay, because he comes from a very big family. There are 8 children. Um,
Wow. Are you guys catching up?
Seems like it. So and I remember thinking, how's the guy gonna marry me if I can't have kids and he wants like lots? So we were both very open with each other about that early on. We were open to adoption, and we were just praying like that we would be given the chance to have children. And so, miraculously, and like really, they were telling me it was going to be very, very difficult, like less than 25%. Okay. And I got pregnant like soon after we got married. And in fact, we got married younger than we had planned because we wanted to have children. We wanted to try right away. I was 25 and he was 27 at the time. So that's kind of young, right? Like that's not traditionally the age that you get married anymore. So I know that like I'm not really. I know that my children. I guess the whole situation of me supposedly not being able to have kids kind of reinforces for me that this is a part of my life mission. This is a part of my life calling, and none of these children are an accident, as no person is. And they're a part of my life's mission. They are my life's mission to raise them well, provide for them. And so I am inspired by that. I'm a better person because of it, and there are so many things that I would have never even imagined doing or having the guts to do. I never thought I could start my own business. I didn't go to business school. I wasn't great at math, so I never thought I would be an entrepreneur. Um, but having children kind of makes you brave, right? Like for
Yeah.
me, it was about um, wala, like sorry, it's a Filipino word. I mean, nothing. You have nothing to lose. You just gotta do it.
Yeah.
You do it for your kids,
Just do it right.
right? And I know that I'm supported. I know that there's a reason for why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I feel like it's a part of my calling in life from God. Like we're all here for a reason. This is mine. To be a wife and a mother, and I guess an entrepreneur too. Um, and that's where I draw my strength. In the same breath, I need to say also though that we have to be constantly discerning every single day. Like, Lord, what do you want from me today? Like, is it like that's the juggle and the struggle of every mom. Um, what am I being asked by the Lord to do today? And that's where I'm gonna find my peace, right? Because it changes. A child needs you. You need to focus on the child. Your business needs you. You need to focus on your business. So, like, no day's ever the same, and we need to be constantly asking for guidance, and we need to be very intentional. I feel about like how we plan our days and how we live our days, so that we're not spread too thin. I think,
Yeah, I like what you have shared, and also that motivation, right? And also, thank God for showing you the way of what is your calling, what is your purpose of life, and having been there to see you walk that journey, right? Having because I've seen your two elders, they are beautiful, they are so sweet and stuff like that. I believe that it comes from the love between you and your husband and the whole family, the love that you guys have built up for the whole family. That's where miracles happen, from not possible to even difficult to get pregnant, and now you're having five. I think it's more than just one miracle, right? Now you have five miracles, and who knows that you may be going for your eighth child, right? to meet or maybe to build a soccer team, right? So because when you share that, that also remind me of what my wife went through, because my wife was told by the doctor that she's not supposed to conceive because
Doctors
she
need to
she had
stop telling
lupus.
people this. They're always wrong.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. This is why ever since I don't really, I will say it. I don't really trust doctor, because doctor don't know what they are saying. They are just telling you the worst case scenario to protect themselves. But that's their job, right? But sometimes I felt that maybe a bit of humanity would do well, because until now today my wife is still having that traumatic memories of the doctor say that, oh, your baby will die
Wow,
and all
I
that
didn't know
stuff.
that.
But our daughter Denise came out miraculously. We had her with our first try, and doctor was shocked. Second is my wife pregnancy is supposed to be even more high risk than those elder mothers, but she turned out to have a first trimester, second trimester very smooth. She don't have a lot of morning sickness. It was very smooth until the last trimester. She was just having like high blood pressure and all that stuff, and her pregnancy giving birth was just smooth, although it's cesarean. But I would say even until today, like our daughter Denise has grown up big, strong, and stuff, and tall. So having said that, right, I believe that what you have shared is also that belief, that faith, to know that you can give birth, you can get pregnant, you can have a family. I think that is very important. The faith and the belief to be able to do that. That is, I would say, fundamentally how you can find opportunity or overcome things in
Yeah.
challenging times. Because if you stop believing, and stop having the faith, right, in anything, not just with God or whatever, the faith in whatever you're doing. Once you lost hope, that's the end. So this is where also the reason why I started this show, and inviting amazing mompreneur like you, because you start your business after you have your first child, and your inspiration come from your child, right? From you being a mother, designing swimwear for mothers. So that is very inspiring, and that is also the reason why we kept contact you today, because I'm so inspired by your story and really want to invite you to share your amazing story with everyone, to document down. And you were telling me that this is your first
Yes.
time, right? But it seems that you are so natural to this.
Thank you. I really was thinking, it's gonna be my first podcast. I don't know what's going to happen. Thank you. And Kenneth, like I have to tell you that also what you're doing is so unique and so powerful. Especially to be a man who's cheering for women, cheering for mothers. This has to be in the same way a special calling and a special vocation that you are using to bless the world, that you're using to contribute, and like on behalf of mothers, like just thank you. It's fantastic work. It's empowering and beautiful work.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think it's also because I've been through the uh, lowest in my life, right? I was at the peak of my career, but I was the lowest in my life. I think things that we went through, right, and we overcome that challenging moments, right, and especially at our rock bottom, I think that is where we find the light and the hope, and also the calling, like you mentioned, the calling. What is the purpose of our life? We are being brought here to this life. Why are we here? What are we meant to do? And that's where I found that I have more purpose. I'm living every day fulfilled, and running and having inspiring mompreneurs like you to share your amazing story, and hopefully just someone's or a mother's life will be changed and also being touched by your story, and they will be the next one that is going to be the change maker, that will change their life, their family's life, like how you and a lot of amazing mompreneurs are doing. And if not for you guys, this mompreneurs space podcast, right, will not be running for 100 over episode, and today
Yeah,
is
that's a lot.
111 episode. Yeah, and been running for the past 5 years. So it shows that there's a lot of amazing stories out there that have not been heard. So that's why that also motivate me to keep on sharing, keep on finding, keep on doing this podcast, so that one day that like you mentioned, I don't really see any other man, very rarely, that I will see a man that is championing women, especially mothers. So I find that if I'm not the one doing, then who's going to do it? So I enjoy doing it, enjoy listening to all these inspiring stories. And at the same time, what would you say? Because we talk about like flipping the obstacles into opportunities, right? And you talk about like you are homeschooling your kids. I was like, when I heard that, I was like, my mind exploded. I was like, you having 5 kids, taking out just the daily needs, and running 2 businesses, upcoming another project, and you're homeschooling them. How is it possible? Like, it is even in Singapore, homeschooling is not something that common. It's not really that mainstream. How about it in Philippines?
So I would say that homeschooling was another fruit of 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 a pregnancy, I guess. I was pregnant with my third child. And so that was Rosie. That was when we met. I think it was after I met you in Singapore that I started. At the time, my 2 daughters were in preschool, and I was already thinking, what school was I going to put them in? Like, which big school was I going to put them in? And I was exploring my options, and I really didn't feel at peace with them. And I had always been attracted to homeschooling just because of the kind of family culture that it creates and the freedom the children are given to explore their interests, to develop their talents, to just to learn outside of the box. So I started doing a lot of researching and attending workshops, and it was I really also felt guided. Like I felt like God was really guiding me in this direction, providing me with materials, introducing me to the right people, and pandemic happened, so suddenly schools closed, and I was like, great, I don't have a choice, let me try it out to the rest of the world. And I found that it was just so good for our family, for my relationship to them. I felt so much more connected. um I could see that they were learning, just to learn how to be able to teach your children how to read, to introduce literature to them, to introduce the world of books. Um, and over the years, I remember it. So I'm finishing my third year of homeschooling officially. I can't believe it's been that long for my 2 older children. And I remember 2 years ago, there would be like these moms who would say, you have to trust the process, because we're using a method that's quite special. It's called the Charlotte Mason method. And so it's about giving your children a feast of knowledge. So they receive it's like you get a variety of subjects within a day, within short periods of time. And they do a lot of oral narration. I'm really, really passionate about this, and I won't ramble. But basically, they were telling me then, trust the process. And 3 years later, I see the fruits. So I know it worked. And I know that right now it's really, really good for them. Like my eldest daughter, Teresa, she's an artist, right? And then she has all of these ideas. She's super creative. She teaches herself all of these skills. She crochets, she does beadwork, she weaves, she designs clothes. Like it's and
Wow.
then and then my other one is super into like coding. She's like practicing coding. She's 7. She's like really, really into like Lego and building all these things. So you see the different gifts your children have, and you see what you can pour into your kids. And it helps me also because homeschooling energizes me. This energy, creativity goes to my business. It feeds into each other. It's a crazy life, but it's I don't know. Right now, it's working. Right. Let's see.
No, which is good. Yeah, which is the most important thing, right? Because because you invested 2 years, right, of homeschooling, and you have seen
Yeah.
the result, and able to customize and cater and tailor uh, for each of them. I believe that the fulfillment is really great. It's like you running 2 businesses, one on the creative, the craft, and the other one on the tech, on the coding,
Right. And
on
every
the
child.
engineering part,
That's
right?
why I asked God. are you sure you want me to do this? Because you gave me 5. How am I going to make this education fit every single one of them? Like, sounds like a lot of work, Lord. Like, it sounds like a lot of work. But
Yeah, I think it's good because for you, you are stretching your mind, right? You have to be open minded. I told a lot of moms, um, like you have to be open minded, especially when you run business. You cannot just okay, this is the way to run business, and you just stuck with it. So that is what happened to a lot of people during pandemic. They couldn't pivot because they are very close minded. They still want to wait for things to happen, wait for things to come back, and just now like I mentioned to you, like 2020 was my best year. I have a lot of marketing clients, but in 2021, a lot of them their business could not continue because they never expected the pandemic to last that long, to be prolonged. And a lot of them don't have other ways to keep on having the sales coming on. A lot of them are not digitally savvy, and a lot of them don't are not able to shift onto digital that fast or even online. So that's where a lot of them either sold their business, closed their business, or they moved into something even. That means they are from their side hustle, right? The side hustle become their main business, and they just close the main business. So that is what happened. And when you talk about homeschooling, I see that homeschooling is also basically like like building and creating entrepreneurs within them, right? Because
yeah,
from you as an entrepreneur, you run your first business, second business, you're able to teach them, mentor them in whatever they are doing, that which they will be more independent, right?
right, right. And it's also just setting an example, um, and really making them feel like you can do you can have dreams, and you can realize
Hmm.
those dreams, right? And I tell my kids all the time, like, it's within our language. Like, what is my talent? Like, what is my calling? Like, it's like we just talk about it like it's normal. Like, my kids as young as they are already trying to figure out what are my specific gifts and how can I use them to contribute to the world. How can I make
Yeah, and that is something that most kid does not have, because they do not have parents like us who are there to really mentor them, to guide them, to become role models, for them to see that, oh, we are doing what we love, we know our gifts, we have that
right,
self-awareness, where a lot of kids are just like what we call cookie cutter, right? They just sent to school, everybody do the same thing, and they turn out different, right? They turn out different, or they just rebel against the school, the education, whatever they study, they don't feel connected. And this is the one of the challenges I think most parents will have. So having said that, right, what would you say that especially for mothers, what would be the challenges that most mothers are having in starting business, especially most of them have 1 to 2 kids? What would you say would be
I
the
think
challenges
I think
for
every
most
mother
mothers?
struggles with guilt, struggles with managing their time. Um, so over the years, I think I've learned that, one, no, every mother has a unique way of living her motherhood well, right? Like, the way I mother well is never gonna look the same as the way my neighbor mothers well. So that's number one. Like, it's not gonna look the same, and that's okay, and that's beautiful, right? Um, no, so we don't compare. We shouldn't compare how our motherhood looks and
Yeah.
how different it is from the other person's. And number two is that, um, I think that if you don't manage your time, everything else is gonna manage you, right? So intentionality, planning the days. Whenever I'm able to do this, my day goes smoothly. Um, when I don't plan my days, I end up frustrated, stressed, frustrated with my kids, frustrated with myself. But if you know how there's that concept of time blocking, um, wherein
Yep. Yep. It's very
right, you
important.
dedicate specific hours of the day to specific things. So, like, for me, The first hours of my day I dedicate to when I'm able to wake up really early to um, preparing myself spiritually, physically, emotionally, psychologically. That's like my power hour, right? So I pour into myself so that I'm able to pour out. I fill up my cup in the morning and so I can pour out during the day. Then I dedicate my morning to homeschool. At lunch, that's my time block for my older kids. Over lunch, I'm with my younger ones. I'm starting to homeschool my 4-year-old, my 3-year-old. Then in the afternoon, I spend my time at work. I work on from like 2 to 6, 2 to 5, right? And so having time blocks forces you to prioritize well, not waste any time. Because you have to make the most of the time you have, because then you have to go back to your kids after that, right? Like, and 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 it's like it's amazing what you can get done when you focus and when you plan for it. Yeah. So
Yeah, and when you talk about the time block, right, it's very important. A lot of moms or even any entrepreneur, they thought by starting your business, right, you have the freedom of time. Yeah, you have the freedom of time, but you still need to block out time. You still need to plan. You still need to
you need
schedule your time.
discipline.
You still need to learn how to manage. Because, in fact, as an entrepreneur, I do not know whether you agree with me that as an entrepreneur, you need to plan. You need to be what you call that, you need to manage your time even
Yes,
better, even better than when you are an employee, because your time as an employee is managed by your superior, your boss. But when you are on your own, you manage your own time, and that's where you need to upgrade or improve your time management skills, or to learn, like you mentioned, right, you buy books, you read, you learn how to manage your time, how to overcome obstacles. So this is always a constant
right.
learning process for entrepreneur. Yeah. So that is also very important. And when you start reading, your kids will see, oh, mommy is reading, oh, so I also
Mhm.
need to read. So you start reading and stuff. Yeah. So I think it's also important as entrepreneur, we are also role models for our kids. And for you, you are homeschooling. You are also telling them, okay, now from 2 to 6, mommy's
Right.
going to work. So your kids will know that, okay, mommy's going to work. I'm not going to disturb her. I'm going to do what I need to do. And then after that, they will know what are the time that you are blocking it for them,
Right.
right? So like dinner time. So I think kids are really smart, but a lot of times I see parents, right, they got into the flow. They just let things happen, and things don't just happen like that, right? Things will just go chaotic. So when you are under your kids control, you are no longer in
Right.
control, and that's where all the
Yeah.
chaos will
Yeah.
happen.
And so like boundaries and I think what helps me also is that because I have 5, right? So I'm like, I need touch
Yeah,
points with each of them throughout the day. And I try to figure out what
yeah.
time in the day that works best. For my boys,
Mm,
like it's bath time. One of them sleeps with me because I'm still nursing, right?
mm.
And then with the others, it's homeschool, because they value the one-on-one time so much, like I
Yep,
find.
yep,
So
yep.
it's not going to look the same every day, but we can carve out time for that when it's possible.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because for you, right, like in one day we have 24 hours, minus off the sleeping time, you only left with how many hours, right? And you have to split it to your 5 kids. But I think it's also for you, you are very good at handling the guilt, because a lot of mothers, they have tremendous guilt when they have only one child, have two child. But for you, you have
I think
5 kids, right? How do you handle that guilt,
having 5 children
the
is
mom's
super
guilt that
humbling. It just grounds you in the reality that you can't do everything for everyone all the time. So you let go more. Like I look at my mother-in-law.
mm,
She had 8 kids, right? So she's one of the most relaxed
yeah.
people I know. And I think it teaches you that because you already know that like you can't do everything for everybody at every single moment. So there's no point
Yep.
in letting it eat you up. Of course, I still have my my moments where I'm
Mm.
tempted to think that way, but I know that I have to just prioritize every day. Like, what am I going to focus on? And again, to be listening to the spirit, to be listening to what is God asking of me in this moment? Maybe I need to slow down on work and focus on the needs of this child. It always happens also when my children get sick. Like when they get sick, I'm so grateful that I own my time and I can say I need to focus on my kids. Like I find that to be such an
Mm.
incredible gift that I can take care of my kids and I need to, I can attend to them, but like having them get sick makes me realize how much is not in my control and how much sometimes I just need to let go. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you just nail it on the part when you talk about you are able to be with them when they are sick, because a lot of working moms, they are not able to, but being an entrepreneur yourself, you are able to, and you homeschool because you are not outsourcing the schooling, the teaching part to the school where you need to manage the time equally. Yeah. So I think that is also very important that you brought up that part, the homeschooling, the struggles about how to overcome the guilt. It's about letting go. I think this is a very big piece that a lot of mothers can take away. It's easy said than done, but when you say that you have 5 kids and the reality just hit you that you just need to learn how to let go. That is also another skill set,
Yeah.
right? That an entrepreneur also need to learn to let go. And this is I would say another level of skill or personal development that we will need to be. We cannot be there, always be there, right? So this also will train our kids to be more independent. They are more able to survive. They are able to develop more soft skills, right? So because when we talk about that, right, I think this is also another thing that's similar. Like, do you think that parenting 5 kids, right, is this similar to like you running your own business? Like you talk about your eldest being more creative, more craft, and your second will be more coding and things. It's like running two different business genre altogether. So what do you think
I think I would
about this?
compare them in such a way that they require systems to succeed. And again, just going back to what we were talking about earlier, like manage time management and planning. Like
Mm,
stay-at-home moms have a lot of work. Like running a household is a lot of work. You need to have different skill sets. You need to manage your time well. You need to manage your energy. You have to have manage relationships. It's you can take what you learn from raising a family and managing a household. You can carry those skills over to running your businesses and vice versa. So I
mm.
feel like they can support each other. They're not opposed, right? They're not opposed to each other, these two things. They can actually feed into each other, support each other. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right. Because for me, right, in the past 14 years, I work with so many mompreneurs. I see how they manage their child is exactly how they manage their business, because it's still people social skill, right? Like negotiation with their kids is also negotiation with your suppliers, with your staff, and also managing your staff mental wellness, emotions, and stuff, right? So it's all related. That's why I want mothers to realize that there's a deep connection between parenting and business, because the skill set you like what Patricia you mentioned, right? The skill set you talk about in parenting, it can also be used in business, because the skill set, the social skills, whatever you learn, you can apply, and if you are good at either one, it will contribute to the
Yes.
other side, right? So time really flies, and I would really, really love to have you again to talk about the other part that you are passionate about, like homeschooling and stuff like that. So what would be your last advice, right, that you will give to our mothers who want to start business or they want to balance between motherhood and business?
So for mothers who want to start a business, don't wait for things to be perfect, for circumstances to be perfect. Like I know people who are like, yeah, after I have my baby, or yeah, after I have like, well, after I'm not pregnant, or after whatever. Like just do it. Just do it. You can do it.
Yeah, like you, right?
Just do it. So that's one.
Like you have 5 kids, you have two business, and now you're trying out your third project,
I
right?
think we get more courage over time, or more reckless. I don't know. And then balancing motherhood and business, I think it's, I mean, we, like I mentioned, we don't have to think they are opposing, two things that are opposing, but two things that can support each other, that can um, make family life even more beautiful, that can help you grow as a person, something that can also inspire your children, right? So stop seeing these two things as things that fight each other, but instead things that can be integrated, can make you live an integrated life, that can be integrated to be fruitful for you and for your children and your family.
Wow, well, that is so nice for you to sum it up, and also to let the mothers know that there's so much pros in being a mompreneur, starting your own business, especially if you're running a business, that you can work from home, you can develop
Right.
something, you can even be a role model. There's so many benefits of being a stay-at-home mom together as running your business, right? So once again, maybe Patricia can share with the audience how can they get connected with you.
So you can reach me through my brands. That's Coral Manila, CORALMANILA _ and then at maris.handmadeph. Or you can ask Kenneth how you can reach me on Instagram. My Instagram isn't really private, but I'd be happy to chat with moms or go for pep talk or whatever. So yeah.
Thanks a lot. So for those who are interested, you can always check out the links in the description to get connected with Patricia. So last but not least, once again, thank you very much, Patricia, for making time, and after 4 years, finally catch up with you, learn more about you, and know what happened in the past 4 years. Really, really happy to have you, and also can't wait. In fact, next year, right, 2024, I might be going down
Oh,
to
you have to tell
Philippines.
me when.
I yeah, I have big plans over there. Hopefully, because now I've just applied for some startup program. So hopefully if the startup program goes well, and the first market that I will go to will be
Yeah.
Philippines. Yeah,
How
so I will share more with you.
exciting. That's great.
Yes, yes, definitely. So, once again, thanks Patricia for making time for this episode, and thanks for her all her golden nuggets, her sharing on how she manages her time, having 5 kids, 2 businesses, and the third one coming up, and at the same time also homeschooling her 5 kids. So, thanks a lot, everyone, and I shall see everyone next week for the new
Thank
brand
you for
episode.
having me,
Thank
and
you,
thank you for all
everyone.
the
Thanks,
work that you
Patricia.
do. Good night, everyone.
Thank you very much. Good night, everyone.
Bye,
Bye
Kenneth. Thank
bye.
you.